I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't.
Michelle Obama is faking like she's fearful for Black people. She's fearful for brown people. Listen, Michelle, and I come from a family who worship the Obamas. You sound foolish. You sound foolish.
We couldn't walk around saying valedictorian, straight A student, speaks excellent, has excellent diction if you give them a chance. Mm-hmm. We knew very early on that no one was going to see beyond the color of our skin at an early age. And that could get you in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about that fear, I'm sure that fear has been tested across your life in so many different places. And I wonder, what would you say has been the most hardest recent test of that fear? Because it's not one of those fears that you kind of get over and it just goes away. It kind of shows its head in many different ways, I imagine.
Well, in this current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants. So it's not the fear for myself anymore. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't, and we know that those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process, and that it's being made like this cop that pulled my brother over when he was 12. You don't look like somebody that belongs. I can determine just by looking at you that you're a good person or you're not a good person. And knowing that there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance that fuels those kind of choices, I worry for people of color all over this country. And I don't know that we will have the advocates to protect everybody. And that frightens me. It keeps me up at night. And I know that I see that when I'm driving around LA, I'm just looking in the faces of folks who could be victim. And I'm wondering, how are you feeling? How do you feel standing on the bus stop? How do you feel comfortable going to work, going to school, when you know that there could be people out here judging you and who could upend your life in a second? That's who I worry for.
Now, she says she worries for illegal immigrants and people who have some melanin, a lot of melanin in their skin. And she's concerned about them when she sees them at the bus stops, and because she drives around in a protective motorcade. And other people who are brown, they don't have protection. They're just out and about in the world, just brown, with no security. Oh my God. We're brown with no security. And this all comes because your brother was pulled over when he was 12 years old by police. Okay, first of all, pulled over walking. He wasn't driving anything, not at 12 years old. And if he was driving something and he was pulled over, he should have. But I'm just going to use my context clues. He was walking and he was stopped by the police, and the police said, "You ugly as hell. What you doing around here? You ugly as hell. What you doing around here? I don't trust you. You're black. I don't trust you. You're black." And because of that, Michelle Obama is faking like she's fearful for Black people. She's fearful for brown people. Listen, Michelle, and I come from a family who worship the Obamas. You sound foolish. You sound foolish. You sound foolish. People who violate and are dangerous to other people are people who are in their proximity. If I'm white and I'm around other whites and some violence pops off, it was by some other whites. Black people, you know, we're violated by people who look like us. Same thing with brown people, same thing with Asians, same thing with Africans, Jamaicans, you name it, Haitians. It does not matter. It's usually by proximity. So for you to fake like you're so afraid for these people because they have brown skin and you're so worried and concerned, you got all this empathy for them and fears that they don't even have, but you're fearful for them, that's bull. And you know it. And I don't know why you're trying to sell that to the people. And just in case you don't know exactly what type of time her husband has been on, oh, let me remind her what type of time her husband has been on. This has been your husband's, like when he was running for president. This was your husband. And I don't even need to remind her, but it's like sometimes people like to play dumb and act like they don't know. We have been helping people grow online. It has been absolutely amazing. We have helped many content creators get from zero to monetization in under 30 days. We even have a couple of these superstars who did it in 1 or 2 weeks. If you want to learn how to do YouTube, I don't care your age, I don't care what skills or talents you have. Trust me, I can help you do it effortlessly. Just reach out to me with the word coach and we can get it done. One more thing. We have a YouTube course that I just now created. I'm extremely proud of, and a lot of people are getting so much from. Purchase that course and work with us. You can join our private Facebook group and our daily group calls, which is 3 to 5 days per week, and you can learn so much more than you've ever learned before. I can't wait to hear from you. Love you. Peace. So, Michelle, this is your husband.
Administration, the Bush administration, has done nothing to control the problem that we have. We've had 5 million undocumented workers come over the borders since George Bush took office. It has become an extraordinary problem. And the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. And so what we have to do is create a comprehensive solution to the problem. Now, I have already stated that as president, I will make sure that we finally have the kind of border security that we need. That's step number one. Step number two is to take on employers. Right now, an employer has more of a chance of getting hit by lightning than be prosecuted for hiring an undocumented worker.
Now, this dude, not only did he want to prosecute people with businesses who paid under the table for undocumented workers, and a lot of people were doing that, and that's unfortunate, but that still happens. You know, when you need something done to your house, you usually contact the contractor. A contractor will contact other people who are undocumented to come actually do the work that they sold you after you've worked out a deal with the main guy. The only time you'll see the main guy is the very first meeting that you have with the main guy, right? You all know that, right? And then he'll send out the crew. Don't know if you know that, but if you have property and if you ever had any work done, trees cut down, your yard fixed and or a deck or patio put up or anything, fencing, this is usually what happens. We meet the main person who run the company. They're usually American citizens. They usually speak our language very well. They're very well versed when it comes to business. They can will and deal. They know how to delegate. So we meet with them, tell them our issue, discuss a price, negotiate. And then after that, we see nothing but undocumented citizens who are paid under the table by this contractor that we pay to come do the work at our home. And that's just on a small scale. That's a micro scale. If you're talking macro, this is happening all throughout the country. And it has been, and it will continue to happen because people like saving money. You know, they like making money more, but they like to save their money. So Michelle Obama, she knows that her husband deported more people from this country than any other president. But she want to say that Trump's immigration policies got her not being able to sleep at night. Nobody's going around harassing and busing illegal immigrants in the head for no reason. Nah, they are just being taken up out of here. They broke the law. by coming here illegally. Simple and plain. They didn't do what they had to do necessarily to become American citizens. So they are being dealt with. This is something that we shouldn't even have to explain to a first lady that was a first lady for 2 terms. So come on, man. So my fear is not with white people. My fear is not that this country is so racist, and if I walk down the street, a police is going to jump from behind the bushes and chase me down and then pull me over and beat me up and throw me in jail forever and then ship me off to El Salvador because they don't have any room in American prisons. Because that's what Trump wants to do. Trump wants to send all American prisoners and criminals to other countries because he thinks it's absolutely hilarious. That's why he's doing it. No, Michelle, and listen, my wife has your books. She got a picture of you in her office. We even got a laminated Barack Obama dollar and newspaper from the day that he won. You talking about people who really was all about the Obamas? I mean, I'm not anymore, but shout out to my wife. She's holding the line. She's holding the line. But at the end of the day, you're delusional, and you're doing a disservice for all of your listeners who just want to hear about some real experiences that you had as a first lady, real experience that you had living in the White House and dealing with all these different politicians. And you know what I mean? That could really help some people. But you coming up with these fake ass excuses as to why Black and brown people need to be fearful in this country is not only is it reckless, but it's just idiotic. It doesn't move us forward, it sets us back.